Morning, student. Today we are going to start your new book, A Pact with the Sun, supplementary reader in English for class 6. This book having 10 chapters. We are going to start first chapter today, A Tale of Two Birds. A Tale of Two Birds is written by Gordon B. Greer. Today we will study an interesting story about two birds who, when they were small, got separated due to certain unforeseen circumstances and in due course of time develop and adopt different nature. The writer of the story very nicely develops the story and brings about the theme of the story in the end of the lesson. This story speaks and depicts the importance of the company one keeps, how one's company can impact one's behavior and build a character. First of all, we are going to read some points which is given in the very starting of the chapter. A mother bird and her two young ones lived in a forest. The mother was killed in a storm and the young birds were separated from each other. Each found a different home. Now I am going to read the first paragraph. There once lived a bird and her two newborn babies in a forest. They had a nest in a tall shady tree, and there the mother bird took care of her little ones day and night. In a dense part of the forest, on a tall shady tree, there lived a bird with her two newborn babies. This story is all about a mother bird and her two young ones in a forest. The mother bird was taking care of her baby in a tall shady tree. Let's move to the second paragraph. One day there was a big storm. There was thunder, lightning, and rain, and the wind blew down many trees. The tall tree in which the birds lived also came down. A big, heavy branch hit the nest and killed the bird. Fortunately for the baby birds, the strong wind blew them away to the other side of the forest. One of them came down near a cave where a gang of robbers lived. The other landed outside a Rishis ashram, a little distance away. Here you can see a new word, storm. Here we can see in the first line, one day there was a big storm. Storm means a violent disturbance of the atmosphere with strong winds and unusual rain, thunder, and lightning. And the other word is fortunately. Fortunately means luckily. And the robbers is also there. Robbers means a person who commits robbery. A person who commits robbery, a thief, a burglar. Now explanation of this paragraph. One day a big storm came with rain and lightning. The storm was so terrible that it uprooted many trees in the jungle. It even took down the tree in which the mother bird lived along with her two babies. Winds blew a branch, hit the mother bird, killing her instantly. But both the babies were fortunate enough to be saved. They were blown away to the other side of the forest by the strong winds. One of the baby was blown to a cave where a gang of robbers lived, while the other was blown to a rishi ashram, which was located deep in the jungle. Both the baby birds were picked up and adopted by the robbers and the rishi. Now let's proceed to third paragraph. Days passed and the baby's bird became big birds. One day the king of the country came to the forest to hunt. He saw a deer and rode after it. It ran into the forest. It ran deep into the forest, followed by the king. Soon the king lost his way and didn't know where he was. After a few days, the baby the baby birds became bigger. One day, the king of the country reached the forest. He was hunting. While hunting, he noticed a deer and started chasing it. The deer ran away into the forest. Chasing the deer on the horse, the king lost his way. Both grew up in strength and became big, grown up birds. One day, the king of the land went on a hunting trip, who, following a deer, came deep into the forest. After riding for some time, he got separated from his soldier and was left all alone in the dense forest and also lost his way back. Now let's move to the fourth paragraph. He rode on for a long time till he came to the other side of the forest. Very tired by now, he got off his horse and sat down under a tree that stood near a cave. Suddenly he heard a voice cry out, "Quick, hurry up! There is someone under the tree. Come and take his jewels and his horse. Hurry, or else he'll slip away." The king was amazed. He looked up and saw a big brown bird on the tree under which he was sitting. He also heard faint noises issuing from the cave. He quickly got onto his horse and rode away as fast as he could. The king kept riding in order to find his way back, but he was lost, and riding, he came to the other side of the forest. Now he was in the area of the robbers, where one of the baby bird had fallen and adopted by the robbers. Hours of riding the horse without any water, the king was tired and exhausted. He needed rest, so he got down from his horse and sat down below a tree. Unknown that he was near the robber's den. The king was all dressed up with the fine jewels and expensive ornaments, as one would find a king to be. While he sat there for a little while, he heard a loud noise cried out, "Quick, hurry up! There is someone under the tree. Come and take his jewels and his fine horse also." The king was surprised and shocked at the same time. He looked up at the tree, and to his surprise, he saw a big brown bird sitting on the tree above and summoning his masters, the robbers, to come and rob the king of his jewels and the horse. In the reply to the bird's call, the king heard some people rushing towards him. The king, smartly assessing the situation quickly, got onto his horse and rode away from the area, saving himself from the robbers who would have looted and most probably killed him also. Now, the next paragraph, before starting the next paragraph, there are 3 points. The king was amazed to hear a similar voice again. He came to know the bird's true story. He met the rishi who explained the behavior of each bird. In next part of the story we can find these points to be explained. Now I am going to start reading the paragraph number 4. Soon he came to the clearing which looked like an ashram. It was the Rishi's ashram. The king tied his horse to a tree and sat down in its shade. Suddenly he heard a gentle voice announce, "Welcome to the ashram. Sir, please go inside and rest. The Rishi will be back soon. There's some cold water in the pot. Please make yourself comfortable." The king looked up and saw a big brown bird in the tree. He was amazed. "This one looks like the other bird outside the cave." He said to himself loudly. "You are right, sir," answered the bird. "He is my brother, but he has made friends with robbers. He now talks us. They do. He doesn't talk to me anymore." Just then the Rishi entered the ashram. Now let's explain the chapter. Riding for some time, the king reached a nice, quiet, and neat place, which was an ashram of the Rishi, where the other baby bird had fallen during the storm. The king was so tired that he got down from his horse and sat down below a shady tree. As he rested for some time, he again heard a soft and gentle voice welcoming him. It said, "Sir, please go inside and rest. The Rishi will so come back. Go, made her have a drink of cold water." While the Rishi returned back, to the king's surprise, he saw a big brown bird similar to the one he had seen near the robber's cave some time ago. The king was amazed and said, "That you are just like the bird which I had seen at the robber's den." The bird was quickly reply that it is my brother, who was made friend with robbers and was now acting the way the robbers did. The bird told the king that he was right. The bird was his brother but had befriended robbers. He too had become like them. The bird added that he and his brother no longer talked to each other. Just then, the Rishi entered the ashram. Now, here the welcome is to greet. The meaning of welcome is to greet. Now, next paragraph. "Welcome, sir," he said to the king. "Please come inside and make yourself at home. You look tired. Rest for a while. Then you can share my food." Now, welcome, the word is welcome. Meaning of welcome is to greet. The Rishi was now back into his ashram and welcomed the king to his ashram and requested the king to rest and join in meals with him. The Rishi greeted the king and requested him to come inside and be at ease. He also offered to share his food. Now, next paragraph. The king told the Rishi the story of two birds and how each had behaved so differently, though they looked so alike. "The forest is full of surprises," he said. Now, here the holy man smiled and said, "After all, one is known by the company one sees." Paragraph. The king told the rishi the story of two birds and how each had behaved so differently, though they looked so alike. The forest was full of surprises, he said. Now, the king explained the differences and different behaviors of the two birds who looked alike. He added that the forest was full of such surprises. The king, after a while, shared his experiences and event of the day with the rishi, how he had wandered away into the forest and now in your ashram and has met the two similar looking birds, and how in two different situations have reached so differently. Through they looked so similar, their behavior were so contrast and opposite. Let's move to the next paragraph. The holy man smiled and said, after all, one is known by the company one keeps. The bird has always heard the talk of robbers. He imitates them and talks about robbing people. This one has repeated what he has always heard. He welcomes people to the ashram. Now, come inside the rest. I'll tell you more about this place and these birds. In this paragraph, you can see imitates, a new word. Imitates means copies. The rishi smiled and explained the impact of the company one keeps. The bird who heard robbers was repeating their words, and the one who has with the rishi was speaking softly and was greeting the people. The rishi asked the king to take rest and offered to tell him more about the birds and the place. The rishi was not much surprised at the king's reaction. He smiled and replied that a person is known by the company he keeps, or he responds as he has learned from the people he lives with. The bird who was brought up by the robber hand, the, he learned the ways and the language of the robbers and started acting the same way as they did. Whereas the bird which was brought in the ashram always heard soft and gentle voices welcoming other people, picked up the behavior likewise. So the writer in this last para very nicely puts before us the theme of the lesson, that one adopts the kind of nature, behavior, attitude, ethics, and morals similar to the people he has brought to up with. He adopts the characteristics similar to the person or persons who had nurtured and nourished him to his adulthood. After the reading and explanation of the chapter, paragraph wise, I would like to summarize this story. The summary of the story is, this story is all about a bird, a mother bird, and the two newborn birds. The mother died in a storm, and the sons got separated from each other in the thunderstorm. Due to the strong wind, the tall tree that they lived on also fell, and they were blown away to the other side of the forest. One of them reached near a gang of robbers, and other one landed near the Rishi's ashram. One day, a king got exhausted while following a deer. He came and sat under a tree near the cave of robbers. There the king heard a big brown bird's voice. It was calling the robbers to rob the king. The king hurriedly got up from there and rode away. He reached near the Rishi's ashram. Here again he heard the bird's voice, but it was a complete contrast to what he heard earlier. This bird asked the king to take rest inside the ashram and wait for the rishi to come. The king was amazed to see the similar appearance of the bird, but this voice was too gentle. The bird told the king that his brother had learned that language from the robbers. When the rishi came, the king shared the story of the birds with him. The rishi smiled and said that it was the impact of the company that was being reflected on the behavior of the bird. That bird was not at fault. He was just repeating the voice had heard, and the forest was full of the variety of surprises. After the reading and explanation of the chapter, we should know what the writer wants to convey us. What is the objective behind it? Now let's talk about Rishi's teaching. Rishi's teaching, the king told the story of the two birds. The Rishi gave him the moral of the story that a person is recognized by the people who are friends to them. The first bird got the company of the robber and became like that, while the second bird lived in the company of saint, so he became like the saint. We learn from this story that a person should not give company to bad people, which makes themselves bad. The moral is a person is known by the person who he friend or lives with, and we must friend with the good people only. This story shows how a person's company can influence him and change him. It also emphasizes that we should always keep good company. Before solving the exercises which are in this chapter, we should know a story again in a very animated way. Let's see the story.
Two birds. Once upon a time, there lived a beautiful bird in the forests of Udhampur. She lived happily with her friends and neighbors on a wise old banyan tree. She loved the forest for it provided ample food and places to fly around. One year, she gave birth to two little birds. The newborn lived in a nest she built on the tree. She cared for her babies deeply and loved them very much. The tree, too, spread out its branches lovingly around the babies. Day and night, she cared for them and fed them well. Alas, one unfortunate day, the forest experienced a storm like never before. Thunder, lightning, strong winds scared all the birds and animals. Many trees got uprooted. The bird hid in her nest, trying to feel secure and praying fervently. Suddenly, a heavy branch broke and came crashing down. The bird was killed instantly. The kids were saved though. They were blown away by a gentler wind to the other side of the forest. One fell at the entrance of a cave. Many robbers lived inside this cave. The other sibling fell at the doorsteps of a blessed Rishi's ashram. Time slowly passed by and the birds gradually grew up. They were now big birds like their mother once had been. They had grown into mature birds with characters of their own. One fine day, King Harshvardhan of Purvasa visited the forest. He was a well-known hunter and wanted to hunt a game. He was busy chasing a deer and in the process went deep into the forest while chasing the deer. His soldiers slowly lost track and the king was left alone in the jungle. He didn't know where he was, and neither did he know the way out. The king was truly bewildered. He was tired after the long day and hungry too. He had reached the other end of the forest. He decided to take a break and sat down under a huge shady banyan tree. He was taken aback when he heard someone say, "Hey, come quickly! There's someone under the banyan tree. He has a horse and is wearing fine jewels. Take his things away before he rides away." The king looked around and could only see a bird perched on the tree. He could hear a commotion emanating from a cave. He lost no time in riding away to safety. He was relieved to see an ashram in a small clearing. He could see many ascetics going about their work. King Harshvardhan tethered his horse near the stream. Someone spoke up. "O mighty king, I welcome you to this holy place. You look tired. Please take rest. Rishi Agastya will be back soon. You can have this water. You do look thirsty." The king was overcome with gratitude. He looked at the bird. It looked very similar to the one he had seen some time back on the banyan tree. The bird read his thoughts and said, "I think you have recently come across my brother. He has made friends with the robbers and behaves like them. I am sorry if he misbehaved with you." The rishi entered the ashram and saw the king standing there. He welcomed the king warmly and invited him to the cottage for dinner. Over dinner, the king narrated his strange experience with the two look-alike birds. "This forest is unique and surprising." The rishi smiled knowingly. He said, "O king, one is known by the company one keeps. The bird you met in the morning has been in the company of robbers. The bird you met here has been in this holy place since a long time. He behaves like he watches everyone doing. Now come, don't spend any more time thinking about this. Take rest." Long after the king had returned to his palace, he kept thinking about the birds and the lesson they taught him unknowingly.
Before concluding the video, I would like to revise all the word meanings of this chapter. First word is robbers, meaning person who commits robbery, a thief, a burglar. Now second word is fortunately. Fortunately means luckily, happily, by good luck. Third word is blew down. This is the second form of the blow. Blew down means to make fall. Fourth word is hunt. To chase and try to catch and kill, to pursue. Fifth word is amazed. Amazed means surprised. Sixth word is comfortable. Comfortable means suitable, to be at ease. Next word is welcome. Welcome means to greet. Alike. Alike means similar, identical. And last word is imitates. Imitates means copies. Now let's revise the key points of the story. A mother bird and her two young ones lived in a forest. The mother was killed in a storm and the young birds were separated from each other. Each found a different home. The king was amazed to hear a similar voice again. He came to know the bird's true story. He met the rishi who explained the behavior of each bird. So that's all for today. This is a wonderful story. You have learned a lot from this story. And this story teaches us to be in a good company. Always make friends those who are good in behavior and attitude. So your attitude will become same. So that's all for today. Have a good day. Revise the chapter, read this chapter again and again, and write the word meanings which I have given in this video in your copy. That's okay. Bye bye. Take care.